If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? And welcome to this edition of the Ron and Don Show. And guess where we are? We are back live on YouTube, on your podcast player of your choice, on social media, and of course, we are live in the Les Schwab studio.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Hey, coming up on the Ron and Don Show, we're going to talk about the death of DEI. Also, Ozzy Osbourne says he's going to do it one more time, but can he? Before we get to that, though, let's get to this. Speed limits now being changed all over the country. In a 7th state now, Ron, has said, you know what, let's go 80. What say you about 80 miles an hour on an interstate near you? And would you like to see that in the great state of Washington?
I think that no for Washington, because there's a lot of mountains and a lot of curvy roads and a lot of one-lane situations. There are some states like Texas or Montana where you have wide freeways, lots of space, where I think it's fine. Here's my biggest problem with this. I don't know if there's an easy way to say this. Washington drivers suck.
Oh boy, here we go.
I mean,
rip the band-aid
I have
right
driven vehicles all over the world.
You've been everywhere.
Not everywhere, but I've been all over the world.
Here we go.
The drivers in Washington State, they can't handle the current speed limit. We still have people driving slow in the left lane.
Yeah.
On every freeway around this great state of ours.
That's right.
We've talked about this for 20 years on the radio. There's legislation passed. You got to move to. People don't give an F, as they say in the YouTubes.
Welcome to Ron Upshaw and Bridled.
And so this, we can't have nice things in this state because you don't know how to drive already.
Yeah.
And if there was just even a minimum competency when it came to driving in Washington State, then I would say, yeah, move it up to 80.
And you're a big supporter of the zipper, right?
Yeah, zipper merge. People, am I wrong? Am I saying anything that's wrong here?
What is the zipper merge, and why are you such a proponent of it? And it seems like people really struggle with the zipper. And I struggle to put my pants on this morning. That's a different kind of zipper. Different zipper.
And you can have some injuries down there.
Yeah.
So zipper merge.
Especially when you're not wearing underwear like I am today.
The zipper merge is a very simple concept. Instead of when you're coming onto an on-ramp, like before it ends, people want to merge in, or they feel like they're being polite by, slowing down or whatever. Zipper merge is to accelerate into the flow of traffic, and it is the teeth zipper together, and it's proven to be more efficient. Washingtonians don't want to hear about it.
They don't. They always slow down.
They slow down.
And then you have to create a space for them, a space that was already created for them if they would accelerate like you're supposed to, like they do in other states, like where I'm from in Illinois, the land of Lincoln. Those people can zipper.
They can.
They got it down. You get on the 94 or you get on the Dan Ryan Expressway, zipper, zipper, zipper. Everywhere you see, everyone's zippering.
And then when you're exiting, you got to know, people, there's going to be a space.
Yep.
You don't have to stop, put on your blinker. Now you're taking up 2 lanes. Just go.
Yeah.
And you're going to find as Don's, was it your grandfather said? You're going to find the log truck. There's a log truck somewhere between where you are and your exit.
No, it was my dad, and my dad was a truck driver for Dan Ledusky Truckie out of Waukegan, Illinois. From time to time, I would go trucking with him, and I had my own Mack truck hat.
Built like a Mack
truck T-shirt, and a Spirit of 76 with a Mack dog on it. I had that as a belt buckle. I also had my work boots that I'd put on. And then I'd splash a little gasoline on myself. Thank God my dad didn't light up in the cab of the truck, but he always smelled like diesel fuel. So I like to sprinkle a little gasoline on before I go out with him.
Did you have a jean jacket?
Jean jacket, of course, with the fake fur. Yeah, you got to have that. You got to have some leather gloves. And then what happens And then what happens is I would go out in the truck with him. He'd have to pull out the passenger seat because the insurance for Dan Ledusky said you can't have your kids riding in the truck, right? So it was my dad's day to watch me. What else is he going to do? He's going to throw me in the truck, put you on a milk carton. So you sit upside down in the milk carton.
Well, that's safe.
So your head is down, no seatbelt. You're just sitting on a milk carton.
Right.
You think Dan Ledusky and the insurance company would be more concerned about you being strapped into a safety seat or sitting on a milk carton upside down? So anyway, we would flip over the milk carton.
Hopefully a milk crate.
We'd be
A milk
listening to
carton would be
WLS or
very-
WMAQ is going to make me rich in Chicago. And then we would go and we would do some trucking. Here's what he would explain, because he would drive this truck like a bat out of hell. And then he'd do the same with our Chevy Suburban and our Coachman trailer. The trailer we never camped in. It was just a vehicle to go smuggle beer. We go up to South Dakota. We get a bunch of Coors beer. We smuggle that back to our garage. My dad would sell that out of the garage because you couldn't get Coors beer in Illinois at the time.
He's an entrepreneur, your dad.
You could only get like 2-3 beer. And then I think he might have been selling other things, but he's no longer with us. He's not here to defend himself. So whatever he was selling, I don't know.
That would not surprise me.
Yeah, but truckers have to stay awake. I'll just put it to you that way. So anyway, what
was the speed limit?
What he explained didn't matter. What he explained to me is when you're out there and you're driving the highways and byways, you got to find someone that's driving like a log truck. What's a log truck always doing?
Slowing down.
Going slow. So, and in fact, whenever you're driving along and you're like, why is it so slow? There must be an accident here. When you finally get the courage to pull to the right and start hauling some because you want to see what's going on up ahead, or on the left, you'll see, oh, there's a log truck just trying to make its way up this mountain pass, or trying to make its way down the. So what you do, I do this on Mercer a lot. I'm coming up I-5. I'm in South Seattle. I'm there selling the hell out of real estate because that's what we do here on the Ron and Don Show. So I'm down there. I'm selling stuff. I'm coming back. I'm flying in the Eurovan. It's fast as you can fly in a 25-year-old Eurovan. I got Charlie in there. He's strapped in. He's not on a milk carton. Charlie deserves a seatbelt. So he has his own seatbelt. He's back there. In fact, I have this little window I open. He puts his little snout out. It's so cute. Have you seen that?
Yes.
The snout? It's
I
cute,
have.
right?
Yes.
Pretty cute.
Yeah, I like your dog.
Yeah. So anyway, what I do when I'm coming up that Mercer ramp, and everybody knows that, I never get in line. Do you ever get in the Mercer line?
It depends.
That line can go on for miles. I never get in the Mercer line. What I do, or the Mercer line coming into Seattle, I get in the lane over and I just keep going and driving and driving and driving. And then all of a sudden you see a gap. I don't pull into that gap. No need to pull into the gap. My father would tell me. Just keep going. See another gap, but I'm still like a half mile away from the Mercer. Am I gonna pull over into that gap like I'm supposed to? Like you probably would, Matt off the mic would? No, you gotta have the courage. So you keep going and go, and then right before you would pull onto the Mercer, you'll see it. There is either an actual log truck or there's someone that is driving like they're driving a log truck. You've seen that, right? The mom's sitting there in the 86 Ford Explorer.
86?
Yeah, it shouldn't be on the road. It has over 500,000 miles on it. It shouldn't be out there exploring anymore. It's down to 2 cylinders.
There's no
she has 12 kids in there.
out.
She's going to baseball practice. They're chugging along. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm cutting right in front of that mom because that mom is driving like a log truck.
Stop the show.
And then boom.
Hold on.
Boom.
Hold on.
2 minutes, I'm out of the Mercer mess.
Have you ever seen a Ford with 500,000 miles on it? Ever.
That's a great point. More in a minute. Hey, you guys, it's Ron and Don for our good friends at Les Schwab, our title sponsor here at the Ron and Don Show. And I bet a lot of you guys are planning a summer getaway right now, or maybe you're just heading out on a weekend trip. Who knows? Before you hit the road, listen to us. Swing by your neighborhood Les Schwab Tire Center. They're going to do a free pre-trip safety check. What does that mean? Well, the pros are going to come out. They'll inspect your tires, your brakes, your battery, your suspension, your alignment, and they're going to make sure you're going to have a smooth, safe trip. Hey, whether you're headed to the coast, the mountains, or anywhere in between, Les Schwab will help ensure that your vehicle, Ron, is road trip ready, right?
At Les Schwab, not only do you get the best service around, their pre-trip safety check is always free. That is music to my ears. I love me some free. That's why you get more from less. Visit your local Les Schwab or book your appointment today at leschwab.com. That's leschwab.com.
Today's show is made possible by your friends Ron and Don. When you're ready to sit down and strategize about your real estate journey, schedule your time with the guys at ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Ozzy Osbourne has said this is his final tour, his final concert. I believe him because I think he's had not only substance issues, but I think he's had heart attacks, he's had strokes. And
He was just diagnosed with something like
Parkinson's. He has Parkinson's. And then he came out this summer and said, hey, there's going to be one more show, and come hell or high water, I'm going to get up there and perform. Let me ask you this.
Looks like an incredible lineup.
Let me ask you this. If one of your favorite performers is going to go up, especially someone like him with Parkinson's, and maybe he can't sing that well anymore, but he's going to go up and give it the college try, aren't you okay to see him one more time if he goes up there and he lip syncs to one of his own songs? Are you okay with that?
To lip sync?
To lip sync.
I don't know if Ozzy
or to sing with a sweetened track, which most people that dance and travel. And Ron and I, when we used to do Top 40 radio, we'd see this all the time. Like if you're out there and you're Janet Jackson and you're dancing, or you're Mariah Carey, or anyone that's dancing around, you're singing to a sweetened track. Now that's your voice, and you recorded it in a studio, and you're singing along with that. But it is a sweetened track. You are. It can't be. You can't,
I think to me it depends, because like Ozzy's a different category because we know his health issues.
Yeah.
And who was the Rhinestone Cowboy guy when he was
Glenn Campbell?
Glenn Campbell, when his health was failing. That's a different category. I'm going to say no. Like, I just went to Guns N' Roses last time they were here at the Climate Pledge.
And you loved it.
And
you had the greatest experience of your life. I remember you telling me about this.
There was some kind of AI generated voice for Axl, and it was weird. And so he couldn't perform. And so that one I didn't. I was like, why did I pay for these tickets when I'm hearing like an A?
You sure? Was it just a bad sound check? Because I haven't heard this anywhere else though, and they continue to perform all over the world. And the only complaint I've heard is from you.
I'm 100% positive that there was something going on with his voice. So that one I'm going to say no. But like, for instance, I went to Willie Nelson a while back, and I love Willie Nelson, and I've seen him multiple times. And it just wasn't there.
He sounds great when he plays with his two sons, though. When his sons come out, and he has like 7 kids, most of them musicians. When they come out and they lead the band and they sing along with him,
with Glenn Campbell as well.
I saw him last summer. He opened up for Chris Stapleton, and Willie's well into his 90s, and he sounded great. Same with Glenn Campbell. When his daughter played the banjo, ran the band, he would forget the words. The crowd would sing along. Because he had Alzheimer's, the old part of his brain could remember the leads.
I guess
he could play guitar, but he had struggle singing.
When some of these ticket prices are so steep that I don't want to go to karaoke. Like when we went to Foo Fighters, you're wearing a Foo Fighters shirt today, if you can see on YouTube. Foo Fighters and Chrissy Hine and the Pretenders were there, and she sounded incredible. And so that to me was like, okay, here's someone that's in her 70s. She might even be close to 80.
No, she's not in her 80s.
No, I said close to. She's in her 70s for sure.
I would say 73.
And so she sounded...
How old is Chrissy Hine?
She sounded absolutely phenomenal. That was a pleasant surprise to me. But so I don't know. I don't want to see a lip syncing for the concert ticket prices that you're paying.
Who would you like to see one more time that's either retired or dead? And you'd be like, if I could see them one more time.
I just missed Stevie Ray Vaughan at he was at Bumbershoot, and I didn't go that year.
Yeah.
And
look at that, dude. I'm so good.
I said approaching 80.
That's not approaching 80.
73.
73 is not approaching 80. It's approaching 70.
All of us are approaching 80.
How old are you?
I'm approaching 80.
How old are you?
Approaching 80.
You're 55.
No, I'm not 55. I'm 54.
You're 54. You're not approaching 60. I'm 58.
Oh,
I'm approaching 60.
I think I just hit a
you're
hot
about,
button
You're
here.
about to be 55. No.
Did Chrissy Hynde
you're
did she not feel
when you're,
sound great?
When you're 2 years out, then you're approaching it, and that's when you have to accept it.
How
I recently had to accept that I'm going to turn 60 in a couple of years, but you don't do that at your age at 54, 55.
That's because I'm not approaching it.
You're closer to 50.
So did or Chrissy Hynde, or did she not?
You double
sound
your
great?
age. You're like, okay, I'm 54. If I double that, chances are I'll still be around. You got a shot. You have a shot. 58, I just turned 58. You double that, I have no shot.
You don't.
Yeah. So, and I'm always amazed when people say midlife is up to 65. Your midlife, as they say, it's between 40 and 65. Your midlife is not 65.
No.
You're about to be dead and in the box, bro.
You're approaching
as
80.
my son likes to call me. He calls me bro now.
What's up, Boomer?
I get a lot of boomer. What's the hatred toward the boomer?
So
I'm not a boomer, but there's a lot of hatred
Who
toward the
would
boomer.
you want to see?
You know,
If you say John Denver, it's not even for real.
of course,
Really?
at Red Rocks. It's
Really?
probably the greatest concert that I never saw. Every time I see him on PBS, which by the way, I guess is going away, and I see him and they do like 2 minutes of the show and then they ask for money for 12, and then you see 2 minutes of John at Red
Yeah.
Rocks and then they ask for money at 12. I sit through the 12 minutes just to see the two of John Dusseldorf Denver, who wrote Rocky Mountain High.
He's a great performer.
And then the follow-up was, but when I was out in my experimental plane, I guess I wasn't quite high enough. That was the follow-up to Rocky Mountain High. You got to admit, Rocky Mountain High, there's not a better sing-along song ever. You got one? Poems, Prayers, and Promises you might bring up?
No.
That's another John Denver song.
What's the life?
You're thinking Matthew, My Brother.
No.
Another John Denver song, deeper cut, right?
Country Boy's a better sing along.
Which is a John Denver song.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
a better sing along.
Oh my gosh.
You know I'm right.
Well, if it wasn't for Peter, Paul, and Mary, and he started singing with them, and then they're like, wow, this is not Peter, Paul, and John Dusseldorf, because he was a lot better than they were, and he was kicking Peter, Paul, and Mary in the ass. And so they said, you're out of here, Dusseldorf. And he said, oh yeah? I'm changing my name to Denver, and you just wait and see. And the next thing you know, he's in Oh God 1 and Oh God 2 with George Burns.
Can we get through one episode without like Brady Bunch talk or a song from 1974?
Oh, I'm glad you brought up the Brady
or
Bunch.
like Loretta Swift. Like, can we do like all these TV Land 45-year-old references? Can we just do one show that's Brady free and John Denver free and just stay in this century?
Don't get me started about the captain.
Just stay in this century.
You know what would happen with the captain and Tennille.
Oh my God.
They're no longer together. Daryl gets the Parkinson's. Tennille says, I'm out of here. They don't even talk to each other. There was no Muskrat love. None. Zero. Debbie Gibson, though, looks pretty phenomenal today.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen Debbie Gibson?
This century.
I have an update on the Real Brady Bros.
No, I don't want
I
it.
have an update.
No.
No new episode this week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm
and I did find a podcast now with the Partridge Family.
Oh my God.
No Reuben Kincaid. He's dead.
Well, of course.
Reuben's no longer with us. David Cassidy no longer with us. Danny Partridge, though, who used to be my neighbor and did morning
Like
radio
Danny Bonaducci.
here in Seattle. He's Danny Partridge to me.
Okay, great.
Yeah. He now he retired. And
I
now-
did like
do you
that
know-
van.
Do you know where he lives?
The van with the...
It was in a van, Ron. It was a bus.
Wow.
It's called a schoolie.
Can we
You don't live the van life, so you
Ron's
don't know.
thinking of
called a
Scooby Doo.
It's called a schoolie.
Wrong.
It's
show.
not a. It's a bus.
Can we stop?
And that was based on a real family. What was the name of the family?
Why are you pointing at me with your pen so aggressively?
What was the name of the family?
I don't care. These are not my shows.
The Cowsills.
I don't.
That was,
I don't.
That was
I
the
don't-
family.
I
It
don't
was
wanna
mom
know.
and the kids.
I don't want to know.
I wish we could play some of their music, but I guess we don't have the
can't.
rights.
We don't have the rights.
That's too bad.
No, it's too good.
Anyway, John Denver for me. Matt, who would you like to see that's no longer with us? Matt.
Welcome back, Cutter.
Yes. Thank
He's
you.
still around.
No, he's not. He's dead. Horseshack's still around. Vinny Barbarino still
He does-
around.
You're talking about Gabe Kaplan?
Yeah, he's
Gabe
dead.
Kaplan's not dead.
I think so.
He still does poker commentary.
I don't think he's playing anymore. I think he's playing at the great tournament in the sky.
I don't think Gabe Kaplan's dead.
Well, he's pretty
I'm
close.
going to check.
I think he's.
If this segment ever ends, I'm going to check that factoid.
I'm gonna look real quick. What are you saying? Gabe
Hey, Siri.
No, how old are you saying he is?
How old is Gabe
I'm
Kaplan?
saying Gabe Kaplan is dead and he died at 77. That's what I'm saying.
He's 80 years old and he's still alive.
No way.
I told you. I see him. He does poker after dark.
You know what? I was only 3 years off. That's pretty good.
He's approaching it.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Was that our last segment, or are we just getting started? Oh, okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back on the other side of this.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. We're going to get to our DEI topic next week because I really want to spend some time on that, and I want to get Ron's thoughts on it. Before we get out of here, though, I do think this is important. And I do like to follow, for some reason, long snappers who used to play in the NFL. Ron, you used to be a long snapper.
I was a college recruited long snapper.
You were?
By like a junior college.
Why didn't you go to college in long snap?
Because I didn't want to be a lumberjack.
Oh. Why don't you explain what the long snapper does? And you know who went to Montana State and became a, let's see, I think Chris's son, Tommy, I think he was an All-American at Montana State. He just completed 4 years there as their long snapper.
Chris Sullivan,
their son Tommy, he had walked on. Chris Sullivan worked at Cairo with us. He's one of our reporters. His son walked on at Montana State, and for the first year didn't have a ride. And then at the end of the year, they brought him in the locker room and announced that they were giving him a full ride. So I think he's actually working for that program now. But being the long snapper, being the punter, being the kicker, we know Adam Sandler's song, You're the Lonesome Kicker. You're really lonesome if you're hiking the ball to the kicker or the punter, and all those guys kind of hang out during practice.
It's a special,
and they punt and kick the ball.
special teams are very vital, but like sort of like you said, ostracized by the rest of the team, kind of, especially if you miss a kick. But long snappers can have very long careers, 15, 20 years in the league and make the league minimum. You can get paid high six figures to snap a football between your legs, for sure.
Yeah, and then you see sometimes players, they leave the NFL, and then you start seeing them having issues, and then you wonder if it's CTE, and they can't really test for CTE, that protein on the brain, until you're dead, and they basically saw into your brain.
Is this a long snapper story?
It is, because what's weird is the long snapper usually doesn't get CTE. The long snapper usually doesn't get you usually don't get head blows because it's not allowed. There'd be a penalty if you head blow. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
When you
cannot get
yeah, because their head's down, you're snapping the ball. So usually when you hear some of these stories, and this sounds like it could be a CTE story, or maybe it's a guy just standing up for his principles. In this segment, we call "What Would You Do If You Were Sitting in Church and You Were a Former Long Snapper for the Rams." That's what the segment's called.
It's a very long name for a segment.
Matt, could you shorten that? You're the producer. I'm surprised you handed me such a long title for it. Wow, Matt, did you sleep in today or something? You're really off your game. Anyway, this is coming from the Los Angeles Times. It says, it's not easy for NFL long snappers to stand out. Their exacting trade hinging exclusively on repeating the same action without fail or fanfare. Yet Jake McQuaid, you know who Jake is, right?
I do not.
He's the former Rams two-time Pro Bowl long snapper and veteran of 14 NFL seasons. What's amazing about these guys, when you can snap like this, you can just stay in the NFL for 14 years, right?
Yeah, or longer.
I had a buddy that I used to work out with that was a long snapper for the Seahawks.
Trey Junkin?
Yeah, Trey. Yeah, he was like their long snapper for like 17 years. It was incredible. Anyway, McQuaid rose during Mass. He's in Ohio. He's at the Ohio Catholic Church. And then he has something to say to Jason Williams, who's the chancellor of the Cincinnati Archdiocese. And he started demanding answers during the service about rumors that two of the priests there had viewed pornography on a parish computer. Shortly thereafter, McQuaid was removed from the sanctuary by police officers. During the outburst, McQuaid seemed to channel Sister Elias's Mary Streep's character in the 2008 film called Doubt.
It's a great movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
When he loudly questioned Williams, saying, "We want to put these rumors to rest. Can you answer this for me? Fact or fiction?" Is that what happened in the movie?
If you've never seen Doubt?
No.
Oh my God, it's such a good movie.
I don't doubt it. Anyway, according to video from Cincinnati news station WCPO, there's more here, you guys. When someone at the altar told McQuaid, "This is not the time for this," McQuaid responded by shouting, I'm sorry, sir. This is the time and the place for this.
This made the paper?
I will stand up. Did the priest use our parish computer to look at pornography? True or false? True or false?
This made the Ron and Don show?
Yelled McQuaid. McQuaid's challenge occurred while Williams was reading a
this
letter
isn't Dennis
from
McQuaid?
the Archbishop Robert Casey to Our Lady of Visitation congregation that said the rumors were investigated, no wrongdoing either criminally or ecclesiastically had been substantiated. The reason I bring this up,
Yes. Why did you bring this up?
I understand what wrongdoing is criminally, but what is it ecclesiastically? Ron, what say you? When you've done someone wrong ecclesiastically, what have you done? And I understand that this was in the movie Doubt, which evidently you've seen with Meryl Streep, and you love it.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman. You should go see it. What I think's going on here is that we're very close to lunch, and you're getting hungry.
Probably.
That's what's
He
happening.
also said that one of the priests was taking a previously planned sabbatical. And like gossip and the spreading rumors is sinful, that we should all work to overcome the tendency of fallen human nature. This is what the letter said.
What?
I'm not done. There's more.
Please.
Green Township. It's on the front page of the Seattle Times, Ron.
I thought you said the Los Angeles Times.
That paper, too. This is how big the story was.
This is huge breaking news.
2 Green Township police officers escorted McQuaid from the church. McQuaid was not charged, according to police, but he did say, "Don't confuse me with my brother, Dennis McQuaid." And then I did some research on this. That was some hijinks because Dennis McQuaid is not his brother. And Dennis McQuaid spells his name differently. Your thoughts?
Hey.
What are your thoughts? What's your take?
I think that I would like to take this segment and end it.
I think more people would go to church if some people would stand up and say shit like this. Like I would, wouldn't you?
No.
This to me would be fun in church. And there's all kinds of things growing up in the Catholic Church that I would like to say to Father Cushing and Father Brown. Never had the opportunity to. And if those guys are still around,
if there was an
and
arrest,
some of the other molesters that I know, I would love to stand up and
if
say
there was an arrest in
say-
church, that would be more entertaining.
What's that?
If there was an arrest every service.
I was at one of the last churches I went to. The pastor had been dating the secretary, and we knew he was dating the secretary because he was always gone. And then the secretary would pull up in her new sports car and be like, "Where'd the secretary get the sports car?" So he was with the secretary all the time. And then one Sunday morning, he's not there, and neither is the secretary. Guess who takes to the podium?
The wife?
Yes.
Oh, that must be fun.
She had a lot to say.
I bet.
That church today is it's a Chinese restaurant. It's a Chinese food restaurant.
Good for them.
It blew it apart, and it was not able ecclesiastically to stay together.
Who got the car?
That's what I would like to know. And there's lots of rumors about where the car came from, but you know what? We're out of time. You know what's interesting? You didn't think you liked that story in the beginning, and then you kind of bit on it, and you enjoyed it a lot. And so did Matt over here. And now you can see why it was on the cover of all the Los Angeles papers. And Snapper Times and Long Snapper Magazine. It was also in snapper.com.
My subscription has lapsed. It's just the Snapper Times.
Anyway, hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in to the Ron and Don Show. We sure do appreciate it. Myself here and my long-snapping friend, Ron Upshaw, who almost got recruited
I did
in
get
college,
recruited.
but he
I just
didn't.
didn't play.
And it's what guys always say, that almost played or did something in college. I almost raced. I almost was a long snapper, but did you blow your knee out?
No, I didn't want to go to that school.
But his career was ended because you got a better.
I thought I was.
You got a better offer.
Seriously, I thought I was going to be a rock star.
Yes.
And let's see how that turned out.
Did you watch Bono's new
No,
Surrender?
I haven't.
It's pretty weird.
He's weird.
I tried reading the book, and the book was weird. And now it's him standing on a stage reading that book.
Right.
The whole book.
Right.
You're like, is this? My son and I were watching last night. We're like, when does it stop? It doesn't stop.
Reminds me of this segment.
I wanted Bono to surrender right then and there and say, this docuseries is over. It's pretty crazy. And then he also has hair growing out of his nose. And you and I have to be on the same page here. When you and I start having hair growing out of our nose and ears, and my son tells me, my barber does, we got to give each other a heads up. And ever since you got a girlfriend, your nose hair is fine. But before the girlfriend, there were a couple nose hairs. It's kind of like, hey.
They can get away from you.
Yep.
Hey.
And with
With that segment, if you need help with real estate, schedule a sit down. RonandDonSitDown.com.
And we'll make sure to trim up our nose hairs in your ears.
Exactly.
Before we meet you online.
See you next time, everybody.
RonandDonSitDown.com. Thanks for allowing us to be your friends, your broadcasters, and also your confidants. Ecclesiastically, right?
Bye.
Head up, shoulders back. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to my son. Thanks to Grace. Thanks to Ron. Thanks to Don. Thanks for Alex, who's working on our newsletter, even though I haven't seen one in 3 months, but that's another story for another day. I'm going to have to sit down with Alex and speak to him from an ecclesiastical place. Ecclesiastical. You've been listening to the Ron and Don Show. Ollie! Oh, there goes Matt on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, it's G-Force O'Neill. Thanks for listening to my dad and his boyhood friend, Mr. Ron.